All right, now moving on. Speaker of the Senate, Ekwee Ethuro, has called for special sittings of the Senate on Thursday next week, both morning and afternoon, to discuss the contentious amendments to the election laws that were passed by the National Assembly. Now, during the sittings, members will review a report of the Legal Affairs and Human Rights Committee that is scrutinizing the amended bill. Senators will then vote to either adopt or reject the amendments and or make corrections to the election laws.
For an act of parliament to provide for a framework.
Speaker-Ekwe Ethuro published the notice for the special sitting in the Friday Kenya Gazette. This followed the request of the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader, and with the support of 15 senators. The morning sittings will start at 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. After lunch break, members will assemble for the afternoon sitting starting at 2:30 p.m. until conclusion of the business of the day. On Wednesday, the Senate held a special sitting to discuss the controversial amendments to the election law after they were passed by their counterparts in the National Assembly. After the bill was tabled for the first reading, the Speaker directed the Legal Affairs and Human Rights Committee to scrutinize the changes that had been introduced to the laws.
The people of Kenya are looking up to the Senate. They expect from the Senate nothing less than a sober reflection.
The Senate's Legal Affairs Committee invited various individuals and institutions to collect views on the election laws. The committee also received written memoranda from stakeholders.
If you look at our current system, where we capture facial and fingerprints, it therefore means we may not necessarily rely on the facial if we have to go with the law the way it is. And our proposal was to amend that definition so that we include the element of facial as part of the definition of biometric. We made this recommendation to the National Assembly through the Justice Legal Affairs Committee, but this was not taken on board. But we think for us, this is very important because the data that we already have, we're maximizing on the facial and the fingerprint features.
Some of our disabilities do not allow us to use BVR kits in any way. For example, fire victims who have lost both eyes and all fingers. There are also those affected by neurological conditions, hence loss of sight, as well as suffering from muscular atrophy.
A move by MPs from the ruling Jubilee Alliance to allow for a complementary system to manually register and identify voters as well as transmit election results has angered the opposition. The opposition demands that registration of voters and transmission of election results must be done through an integrated electronic system and says a manual backup is a scheme to steal elections.
As far as the ministry is concerned, we fully recommend that we have a manual backup to the electronic systems for the next general elections.
We wish to put it on record that IEBC plans to deploy an integrated electoral system that consists of voter registration, voter identification, and results transmission. In this integrated system, Mr. Chair, we also want to note that there is no electronic voting. By voting, we mean the act of casting a ballot. When it comes to transmission of results, there are several factors that may lead to failure. The question we should be asking ourselves is, what does the IEBC do in such a situation?
The manual system must be really restricted for it to be exceptional. Now, how do we do that?
People don't seem to understand that if you want to rig elections, you can even use the electronic system, you can manipulate it.
We want to see the results move real time. We do not want you to board a vehicle written Government of Kenya, condensed in between two police officers, driving from Northborough, coming to a tallying center in Nairobi, KICC.
The Senate committee is on a weekend retreat to discuss the public views and written memoranda and compile a report to table in the House on Thursday. Senators will debate changes to the election laws bill and make a vote. The bill will require support of 24 members to pass. But again, the Senate committee might refine the contested clauses and introduce new changes. Should senators adopt the committee's improved version that has been enriched by stakeholders' involvement, the election laws will be referred to a mediation committee. Speakers of both houses shall then appoint a mediation committee consisting of equal numbers of members of each house to attempt to develop a version of the bill that both houses will pass. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.